4, 3, 2, 1. Hey, welcome to the Capitol Film Arts CFAA Film Talk. This is our regular webcast where we give you an opportunity to connect with some of the incredible talents and people that are here in the Northern California film community. There are so many really talented people, and how they find each other is always very interesting. The CFAA, that's part of our real commitment, is to bring people together, allow you to make conversations and to make connections, to bring people in to help you support your next project. So we have some really cool things we're going to share with you tonight. For those of you who this is your first time, I'm Lori. I'm the founder of the CFAA, and we are a nonprofit, low to no pay film association that has been in existence since 2004. We're run by an all-volunteer board of directors who make sure that the train stays on the track, and we continue to have programs for area filmmakers, writers, and actors at all times. We are building something really cool in the Sacramento region, and if not for COVID restrictions, we would be doing it in person. What we're doing now is just at least finding ways to stay connected until we can all be together again. So we really look forward to that, and we miss everybody so much. What we have tonight, we've actually got an incredible array of dates on our calendar. So if you haven't seen what's happening, not only tonight but over the next month or two, the website for the CFAA is capitolfilmarts.org, and through that you can see dates of what we have coming up on October 13th, 20th, and on November 10th as well, with some of the most incredible people that we could bring you, and we know that you're going to dig it. So what we have tonight, as you know, film production's been kind of at a slowdown. We couldn't film together. The restrictions and the guidelines of how to film at a certain point, people were still trying to figure out. I was really impressed with this group of people because they found a way to connect and to create something really interesting. They filmed a SAG short film, which is actually unusual for a lot of independent films to even go SAG. It was a SAG-based short film that was produced solely using Zoom. The team of people, and we're going to find out more about this, the team of people that worked on this, some of them had never met each other before, and they still have not met in person, even now that they're in this marriage together. So it's really kind of fun to see what they've done. The movie is called Two Kisses, and it's really reminiscent of, some of the scenes that take place all around us in today's COVID reality. We all know people or know of people who are struggling and suffering and have really been hurt by this. So it's hard to not find somebody who can relate to it. Being able to share the film with you at a glance. It's only 11 minutes and 30 seconds, so it's not going to take a ton of time. We're going to watch the film, and then the entire group, the crew involved in the development and making of the movie, are going to be online, and we can start asking them questions and get to know a little bit more about their journey and where that went. So thanks for coming. Thanks for being here. I know there's stuff going on TV, but guess what? You can DVR that and you can watch that tomorrow. It's not going to change. So with that said, let's start watching Two Kisses as soon as there.
First cases were reported in Wuhan.
COVID-19. This virus doesn't discriminate. It attacks everyone. It attacks everyone.
It could get very bad.
It's been a week since I dropped John off at the ER. Before this, we hadn't been apart for more than a couple days in 20 years. I'm all alone here now. Peggy can't come over. I walk from room to empty room. God, he's everywhere. He's nowhere. I can feel his presence, his permanence, almost like a smell. I drink my morning coffee alone. We always have our first cup of the day back in bed. Yeah, we snuggle and talk, plan our day out. We do that every morning. Did. Peggy Zooms with me before and after her long shift. She is such an angel. We're both worried about John. He's on a ventilator. His heart isn't strong.
Hey, Mom.
Hey. Oh, it's good to see you.
You too.
How's he doing?
He's better. His numbers are improving.
Good. Can he come home?
I'll talk to the doctor later today.
You said that yesterday.
I know. Mom, how are you doing?
Oh, I'm fine, honey. Yeah.
You have enough food? You're eating 3 times a day?
Yeah.
Mom, you can call out. They'll deliver. Why don't you call that Italian restaurant that you and Dad love so much?
Really? Oh, yeah. I think I can do that.
Do it. I gotta go. My shift starts in 5. I will, I'll check on Dad at the end of my shift, and I will give you a call. Just, be strong. Have faith.
Give him a kiss for me.
2 kisses. It's a lie. She knows it too. It's no kissing. It's no touching. She and Dad are soulmates. They're fused at the hip. I remember our big camp out. After 2 days, Dad had to go home. Pneumonia. Truth is, he isn't doing well. It's his lungs. They've induced a coma to help him breathe. He's a fighter. That's a good thing.
Hello, Peggy. This is Rachel. I just want you to know I sent you an email with a Zoom link. I realize you have a break coming up. Will you please meet with me? Thank you. Now, I've never seen anything like this before. Medical school, I studied plagues, epidemiology. Hundreds of years ago, people thought they were being cursed by God. They'd go out in groups, flagellate themselves, spiked ropes, just praying they could be spared. We know better than that now. There's been over 600 deaths in this hospital. That's just the last 6 weeks. There's been more today.
Hey,
Oh, hi, Peggy.
hi.
Thanks for meeting with me.
Sure.
I know you've been working some double shifts, so
Yeah.
appreciate your time.
Yeah. It's fine. So what's up?
Well, there's something I've got to tell you.
It's Dad, isn't it? Dad. No. Daddy. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Oh, I'm very sorry to give you news this way.
I have to call my mom. Okay. Mom. Mom. No. No, no. 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 Please, no, please.
Okay. Who's not crying? I'm not crying. You're crying. Ah, that that was very sweet. So I want to bring out the group of people that had this idea and brought it to fruition. So let's bring out Tara and Corinne and Donalisa, Mark and Mim.
Hi.
Hi, everybody.
Hello.
So, I forget that it's not the most uplifting film.
Yeah, so much humor in this film.
And I gotta say, and I gotta announce this too, Donalisa Otto was just announced that she won Best Actress in the category. What did you say the category was? The quarantine category? The quarantine
no,
category?
for Best Actress for
the
10 to 20-minute short film. Or 10 to 30 minutes.
Oh, okay. For the Couch Fest, which is a film festival, and you've had several other films that have been accepted, or you've had other festivals that have accepted the film, and it's a process, isn't that right? Okay. So I want to introduce you each because I want to understand what your role, what your contribution was to the film, and also who you knew and how you knew them before you guys even got underway. Then, in addition to that, we'll come back to the concept of what you do individually as a filmmaker and the kinds of projects that you are looking forward to doing and will be doing in the future. So getting a lot of great comments from people who really enjoyed the film, and the more we can do to help just share it, the better. So Mark, let's start with you since you were the creator of the film. Tell me about how you connected with all of these girl power ladies here.
Yeah.
The story really has to begin with the group that got together under the strange circumstances of this COVID. And this was Tara's, her initiative. Yeah, and so what Tara did, maybe Tara should talk about this before maybe she can correct me if I'm wrong. um, Everybody was kind of spinning their wheels in COVID, and projects canceled and put off and things like that. And so Tara, who is kind of an everything kind of producer, writer, director, you name it, and she does it. She thought that just for fun, she would put together a group that would meet on Zoom for the purpose of writing. And I don't know how she ended up with Donna, Lisa, and Corinne. And there was a who am I forgetting from that group? No,
Chatham.
hmm,
Chatham.
Justine.
yeah,
Yeah.
and but anyway, we all met. We originally met 3 times a week, and we would do various kinds of writing, talk about writing, do some writing. I'm a writer. I'm not an actor or a director or anything like that. Um, and we did that for a while, and then there was this really long story, but we ended up deciding that we wanted to make a film about the COVID. And the logic of it was that, who do we call logic? The emotion behind it was that there was this awful thing going on, and we as individuals could do nothing about it. And it was just frustration with that, I think. And that's what I kind of got from everybody, that we wanted to do something that we wanted to make a statement, you know. And how can you make a statement? Well, if you're actors, you make a statement by acting. And I think that was really the the impetus for the project. And then Tara, of course, yeah, took the lead after that in terms of produce just being the producer of this movie. And I wrote it, and I wrote it with the same idea that I wrote it because I'm kind of a dark, depressed person. No, I wrote it because I just threw it out. I wrote it and I says, if this isn't, you don't want to do this, that's fine. But what came to me, what has come to me every day during this COVID is the number of those dead. And they die. And some organizations, PBS, for instance, does a great job of trying to humanize this. But basically, it goes unhumanized. And so the purpose of my script was simply to humanize it. This is what we see is these kind of tiny tragedies that are happening, but they're not tiny, they're large.
They're huge.
And so I put this script together, and I really don't remember much about the process of writing it, except that it came very quickly to me. And so I wrote a draft of the story. It was supposed to be 5 minutes, I remember. A fat chance. But and then we talked about it. I made some changes, and then we talked about it some more, and I made some changes. And the actors, these professional actors that we have, I never worked with professional actors before. I'm totally blown away by the skill of these women. So they would say, they were very nice to me. They say things like, "Mark, can I change this word?" Yeah. Yeah, Corinne, you can change that word. But anyway, so then they got rolling with it, and that's kind of the end of my role at that point.
Okay. So then, Tara, you were driving the production. Where did you connect with these other ladies, and how to bring this to fruition?
Yeah, so I wanted to do something. I felt helpless in this. I felt like I couldn't do anything in the world anymore. It was during shutdown. And so I thought, I have all of these things that I've collected and kept on my computer folders that I was cleaning out. And I was like, I could share some of this information. So I formed what I called a class, but it came more like a writing group right away. And I put it on Facebook, and then I'm friends with various people in the film community in Sacramento, and a few of them shared it, and then a few others shared it, and then that's how Corinne and Dawn and Lisa found out about it. So I was very grateful to have them join. And we were a small group, but
Yeah.
I felt like once it's like let's write about COVID if there's nothing else that we feel like we can do right now. And Mark's like, oh, I have an idea, and then 2 days later, he was emailing it to me, and we were sharing it in our Zoom meeting, and yeah, and so that's how that happened.
Very good. And so Corinne and Donna Lisa were cast.
Mhm.
Is that how you started in the casting process? Because I know
Well,
I wouldn't say, I mean, we were all together already, so.
I did have one issue though, because I am a Screen Actor Guild union member, so it was kind of a small project to me, and I'm thinking, I didn't think that Tara would push this through the union, and I'm thinking, I don't know how I'm going to do this, but Tara did, and I am beyond thankful and grateful that she did what she did. And that's not easy, because there's so many films made here in Sacramento that I wish would go for the short film, or push the paperwork through. She did this on a small little project, made it union, made it legit. And I am so proud of her for what she did, because she did it during a pandemic. All these things are going on. The union had cut jobs. So, whatever she did to get through to them, most of them were laid off at the time. So she did an amazing feat in getting this through. And she was by the book. She had scheduled everything, and she, had sign sheets and the whole works on this project, where I've never even met Tara except for Zoom. Here we are. We're all in different locations, but so thank you, Tara. That
you put a lot on the line when you hand your time and your passions over to somebody, and if you don't know them, please, we've all been on really bad film sets. It's like a bad marriage, and you don't want to be there if you can all avoid it. So I think it's beautiful that it worked out, to where everybody had something really significant that they could bring to the story and, add to the layers. And Corinne, you must have brought in Mim, who is your sister, correct?
That's right. That's right. Yay! I just want to say one thing. I do want to thank Donna Lisa. If it wasn't for Donna Lisa, she was the one who invited me to this writers group. She sent me the link, and she says, maybe this is something you'd like to do. And so, of course, I joined in. And so that's how I met everyone, was because of DL and her invitation. So as the project developed, and you're getting towards the end of what are we going to do with this? It's really coming together, and I had taken on the task of editing it, and you're piecing it together in your mind, and we discussed music. And of course, automatically, the first thing that goes off in my head is, my sister's a composer. Why don't I reach out to her? And I do want to mention this before the thought escapes me, but when you put a video on Facebook Live, unfortunately, through buffering and latency, it really compresses the sound. So for the viewers listening to it, the music seemed really muffled. That's not what it sounds like when you actually watch it on a regular link. But I just wanted to put that out there for the sake of the music, because Mim did a fantastic job. And we were excited with that. I felt like the music served a purpose, in that it was a wonderful companion to the performances. And I don't want to dig too deeply into that process, because I want to pass that over to Mim where I know you're below me.
It's the Brady Bunch. You gotta.
I know. Mim, where you can talk about it because you had a lot of things going on during that time, and so I want to pass the conch over to Mary, so you can talk about this very important aspect of our movie.
Well, it's overwhelming. This is the first time I've actually been able to work with my sister on a project like this. And for a while, I'm an actor and a singer and a writer as well. So a multi-hyphenate. So I'm in good company with all these ladies. So sorry, Mark. But, yeah,
We've been singing a lot.
right now I'm on the East Coast. I'm in New Jersey, and unfortunately was in the hot zone for the initial pandemic, and I wound up catching COVID. It was through a family member right in the beginning. So back when people didn't really know anything about what was going on or what the disease actually was about. I actually can confidently say that I no longer need to wear glasses because the illness causes inflammatory disease. And it actually caused me to have to wear readers. I don't wear glasses, but I had to wear them.
Wow.
So I've officially been a month without having the need to grab for glasses. But yes, I actually survived COVID. I had severe symptoms. Where I wasn't allowed into the hospital because I wasn't completely unable to breathe. I only lost my breath 4 nights in a row while I was sleeping and unable to breathe. And that wasn't extreme enough. So I recovered at home. So when Corinne had asked me to join this project with all of these folks, it was very intense. We had just lost a relative, not due to COVID, but to something else. Everyone was in the process of going through just developing their method of whatever they're going to contribute to the project during a time that was very intense. For me, it was very intense to be writing music and repeatedly. I mean, as a composer, you watch this film over and over and over again because you're watching the moments, listening to the people's speaking voices, and you're actually supplementing sounds that and within the pitch that does not conflict with the speaking that's going on. There's a lot of thought that goes into that, but I had to watch it over and over and over again. And it was it just made me more to Mark's message of just showing these micro stories, which are actually big stories because they impact people's lives. I felt very responsible for it. I felt proud to be a part of it because it directly was something that I was dealing with. My whole family here, we all had COVID and we're still recovering. In fact, I have my doctor's appointment because you can't schedule doctor's appointments easily out over here. I was able to schedule one. My doctor's appointment is tomorrow, so I get to find out if I have any organ issues. That's the reality. Like, I don't know if I'm going to have that, but this piece was very meaningful for me. Getting to know each of these performers and revisiting my sister too as a performer. Was really intense. It was awesome. And I'm just so happy that this has been so well received and everyone's just done such a beautiful job.
Yay, Mim.
And DL. So DL, what was your when you first you were in the group? Did you guys get all hit with the same idea? Did they know that you were this award-winning actress that was going to steal all the
No, we just,
knew she was amazing right away.
I have to say that, Corinne and I have been friends in the acting world for a bit now. And I just thought, she would really enjoy an outlet in this creative writing. She's got multiple talents. And so I invited her in and we had a wonderful time. Mark it was just fantastic. He wrote, this script and, I liked it from the get-go. because I related a lot of it um, as if it were my husband, and what would I go through. So, I got to do a little bit of, and it's a short piece, but there's enough in it to really, I thought to work with. And I thought this will be good, but I didn't know it was going to turn into, and I have to say, I'm just rather surprised that, I looked at it and I said, okay, this will just be a small project and we'll go in it and we'll do this short little film. And as it went on, okay, so the filming of it took place, which was a whole new thing for us because we didn't know what we were doing. First, Zoom was new to us. And then I know that there was technical difficulties on our first meet, which was Tara, Corinne, and myself. We're all in our homes and we're all trying to figure out how are we going to make this work. And there was technical issues. There was camera issues, lighting stuff. And so we spent the whole day just kind of working that out. And then Corinne and I were scheduled by Tara to meet and do our piece together. And Corinne and I spent the whole day up until like 11 at night because, we're like, oh, well, we can do another take because there's no director. I mean, there's no, so we just kind of worked out some kinks. We had, like technical difficulties again. So we had to, and then of course there was the big emotional thing, which, had to get there. And it was, didn't you say, Corinne, you were like, I wonder what your husband thinks out there.
Yeah, because it's,
I was just like bawling. I was like,
it was a few takes of the breakdown. And so then you start to wonder what your husband was thinking, what are they doing in there?
yeah. But it was a real experience. So I just want to, because I know that, I want to give everyone, everybody can talk here, but I just want to say that from a small project to what it has become was not even in my vision. They took it after we did our acting, which I don't know. They're going to take it and do whatever. And Corinne, she's like a master editor, and then she worked with Tara, and they're like doing their thing, and I don't know anything about that. So when it started to come together, I thought, oh well, this is looking good, and then, ma'am, oh my God, when she put that music to it, I'm getting chills right now. It just, I mean, you could tell how much thought she put into it because it changed the whole feel of this movie. And you can imagine a movie, like just a regular movie without any sound, I mean, you have to have that music to gather, to carry that emotion through. And she did such a wonderful job. There's so many little pieces in there. And then Corinne, editing, into black and dark, and then I'm still crying and I'm like, oh my God, there were so many little pieces that I had no idea was going to, make this film. And then Mim, was it you, Mim, that did the poster? I'm like, oh my gosh, we have a movie poster out of this. And I'm like, what is happening here? It's like the little short film that just kept on going. And my husband, we just laughed at it. It's like, oh my gosh, this is like a real film now, so I had no idea that that's what was going to happen. And thank you for Tara for, putting it into the festivals. I don't know anything about that as well. I probably wouldn't have gotten, this Best Actress had she not done that for me. So, it really goes to all of us. So I'm really happy that Tara and Corinne, I wish all of you, Mark and Mim, were on the same little logo thing, but at least we have some of us all together, and it meant a lot for me to have them on there as well. But anyway, it was quite a ride, and I enjoyed it. And Mark, thank you so much for writing this wonderful little short. So
I'm curious. I know some about some of you, but tell me, if how many films you've actually worked on and in what capacity. Because Corinne, I know you as an actress and voiceover. I had no idea that you knew how to edit. I mean, you're just proving yourself to be even more valuable to bring on a set. You can do all these double duties. But so Tara, how many films have you done, and
Well,
what
this is,
capacity?
yeah, so this is my second, the last time I acted was in a short for a friend in college. So, yeah, I did one other one that I directed and wrote last fall, Joymaker, and I've done this.
It's a good one.
Which
So
is a
that
beautiful movie, by
Yes.
the way.
That one lit your spark to make you want to do it again.
Well, I've always known, but really, I had in 2014 or 15, I had a short play, a one-act play, get on stage for a competition, and then seeing actors say my words. So that's when I was really hooked. Like, oh, repeat, rinse, repeat,
That's
do over, do again. So, yeah.
And Mark, was this the first script that you've written that's been produced?
Yeah, I'm a writer of prose fiction.
Okay.
Short stories of a novel I've written. And Tara and I have known each other for quite a while. We're both in Chico. And so Tara really just asked me if I wanted to get involved in this writing project, and so I thought, yeah, that, it'd really, really be fun. And it was. And it was really, I have to say, the highlight of however long we were together. It was just, I looked forward so much to our little meetings, and we'd get together.
Aww.
We'd drink some wine,
Allegedly.
and laugh and talk and write. And it was, and so, yeah, this is the first script I ever wrote. And I wrote some scripts years and years ago, trying to break into Hollywood. And that didn't work out, and I'm really glad it didn't.
Well, now you know all these filmmakers, so maybe you can revisit some of those scripts.
They were on floppy disks. They don't out anymore. Yeah. No, that's a lost part of my life. But so I kind of knew that. But anyway, so I wrote the script, and then Tara turned it into a technical kind of script. Yeah. So yeah, it's my first one, sort of.
Cool. And Nomim, you're a composer, but what is this your typical directive for composing? Is it scoring? Or tell us a little bit more about how you
how you said try not to get into the weeds. I started out as my sister Corinne and I overlap in this area, so I'm speaking for you, Co, because might as well,
Thanks.
we both started out in musical theater as children. So I've always been a singer and an actor, and I wound up going to the Boston Conservatory for acting and singing and dancing. I stage direct, I choreograph. I'm just basically, I'm an old soul, like an old Hollywood type person who believes you have to know how to do everything. That being said, I'm also a musician. I play multiple instruments. I'm a composer, but like every day I am composing, but I'm also writing. And I'm called in to do readings because I'm an actor. Obviously, I'm an actor, right? I mean, it's kind of obvious. Like, obviously. But it's just, so for films, let's stick to the subject. So I won't go into the weeds anymore, or the reeds. For film, I aspire to be a film actor, and that's something that I'm focusing on as a profession. But in the meantime, the things I've been able to do remotely, because I am a stay-at-home, work-from-home mom, and I'm part of a very rare demographic in film. And all the moms out there, put the thumbs up. Okay, very rare demographic. You know what I'm saying? So anything that I can do,
Yeah.
Anything that I can do within the process, I have done. So I've been a script supervisor for Film Short, worked as an executive consultant on film because I know a lot about a lot of different stuff. A lot of branding and marketing for film. I write films. I write plays. Thankfully, I just joined the Dramatists Guild last week, which is like a big deal. I mean, so because I'm on the East Coast, so there, and I'm close to New York. I'm an hour away. I used to live there. Yada yada. So, so I do a lot of stuff. So for film, I do aspire to focus on acting. I'm continuing with that. But there's always stuff. I'm always creating, and I like creating, and I like getting other people involved in things. And for those of you guys who do know already, I'm going to be premiering a video on October 5th of a 30 voice virtual choir.
Wow.
Featuring two opera soloists, one of which is actually an actor on television. I have some really cool people in this choir. Like one of the featured vocalists in it is Abigail Hawk. You may know her as Detective Baker on Blue Bloods. So I have like really cool people. Like I know a lot of different people from a lot of different things, and that's just because my entire career has been a variety of interests. But it's just whatever I could do when I could do it, I would do it. That's basically it. So, there we are. We're out of the.
You know what? You describe the life of a independent filmmaker. Whatever you need to do, you do it.
Yeah.
What it comes down to. And DL, I know your history is long and deep in film acting. I have had the privilege of watching you start to take on tasks as in production, and I think that you are just a multi-hat, multi-hyphenate in action, and I'm so proud of what you've done. So tell us a little bit about how far back you go and when you just started kind of twisting into the management side of things.
Well, I really wish I had as big a, I mean, Mim, I'm like, whoa, she's just multi-talented. I started in acting quite a while ago. I became a Screen Actors Guild member in 1996. So from there, I've just been, I was up in San Francisco, studied with Gene Shelton. I just really like to act. It's just a passion, and of course my life has taken me different areas. I've owned a restaurant, I've gone in and out, and so gosh, was it about 2016 I decided to go just 100% into acting, which it takes a commitment. So I just really, I had to get new headshots. I had to, I closed the restaurant down. We had closed the restaurant down and never really got back in as strong until about 2016, I think. So, but I've done a lot of work up in San Francisco. I've had some national commercials, which are very nice and pay bills. I've done some theater and love that, but it takes more time. I'm more in the film. And let's see, I'm studying with, I never quit studying though. That's one thing, as an actor, I feel like, if I'm not working, I better be in class or I better be studying, and, I need to keep it sharp. So I do take a Saturday Zoom class workshop. I started taking it with Tom Todoroff out of New York, and it's fabulous. We have this wonderful group, and there's like 80, sometimes there's over 100 people in this thing.
Wow.
But you learn so much by watching how he works with the actors and what he says. And then he has a whole system that he wants us to learn. It's kept me having to keep on top of monologues, keep on top of scenes, keep on top of plays. It's forced me to not get lazy. So I feel like if this comes out of this pandemic, I'm still gonna, have the chops for that. In fact, during this filming of this, I was I was in the workshops, and I remember looking at this script and I'm like, okay, he always says I have to find humor. And I'm like, how do I find humor in this script? So he said, that's a big thing, that there's humor in everything. There's humor in tragedy. And so, Corinne and I talked about a lot of the acting stuff, and she added the little restaurants, the Italian restaurant, which, I don't like, my husband liked. So it kind of triggered a little bit of laughter. And, I was able to smile a little bit in the beginning and not go right to the end. I mean, it could have just been a sad thing all the way through on that with me, but I had to find different moments. And anyway, and then I guess it worked with the Couch Film Festival.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I like acting. I'm 100% in. I still submit to San Francisco, jobs. I've got one coming up that I'm going to be working in this October. So pandemic, don't keep me down. No way. I'm going to keep on going.
That's right.
So I'm still, submitting and just finding work where I can. And if I'm not, you find me in class, because that's a regular thing for me.
Yeah. I applaud you for that. And I think that is what keeps you at the top of your game and keeps you informed and, more importantly, really connected, both in the Sacramento Valley and in the Bay Area. You're kind of the go-to on what's happening in both of those environments. So as the business keeps building, I know that you'll be involved in that. We have a question that has come up, so I'm going to post it up here. Elizabeth Ann Springett, we love Elizabeth. She says, "Great job. Could you expand on some of the technical issues? Did you all film on iPhones or was with more elaborate cameras? Any tips or tricks that you all came away with from filming this way?"
Yeah, so when we first started talking about this, Zoom was recording at 1080p, but it's no longer. So that was challenging. And I did it on my computer, which has a low res. First of all, there are no cameras, like no webcams, because kids had gone to school. So I couldn't find another camera that was higher res. So I used this camera that we're seeing right now. And so just recorded on Zoom only. We used that, and then it saved on our computers. We checked our specs. We tried different times of day because of web patterns are obviously challenging. And one minor technical issue, I didn't hit record one time. Very sorry, Corinne. On a really nice take. That was a technical issue. But John, Lisa, you want to talk a little bit about your different setups that you tried?
Yeah. Okay. So I have this HP computer, and it's pretty good, but it had terrible. The camera the quality was not coming up so very good. And my lighting, when we first started, it was like, okay, find a window and get some good lighting. Well, you can't always do that because we would have to work on the different times. And I just want to reiterate, Tara, you mentioned that, during the making of this film, everyone was on their computers and stuff. So when she says that we had to really kind of, the internet would go in and out, we had to be aware of that. And we shot in some odd times because we had to make sure that, we could have good internet.
And so this was during the lockdown when people were
this was during
and working at home.
You can even go out. So my computer, and because of the lighting, I said, well, maybe now's a good time to get some lighting, because maybe there's more self-taping and all that stuff is going to go on. So Dennis Glasgow, I talked to him, and he steered me into getting these GVMs, and I have them now, which is wonderful. And so I was hoping they would get in by the time we shot, because I was all like, I gotta get the lighting down. I gotta get the lighting. And I remember Aaron Long one time, I guess we had a meeting and I said, can you look at the lighting? And so Aaron Long, helped me, like, okay, well, you want a shadow over here. And so he was giving some, Diodonis stepped in. I mean, that's a wonderful thing about this community, is that when you need to have questions answered, even Ghost Matthew, he was helped a lot in some questions I had with the backdrops and all this stuff, and the lighting as well. So there's so much talent out here, that if you have a question, just stay connected. And this is where the CFAA comes in, because I remember back when I first came here, I didn't know anyone in the film industry in Sacramento. And that was the only place I could go to actually connect with other people. So stay in, get connected, get in that network, meet the people. And, one way or another, we help each other out. So if we have a project, I mean, we did a feature film back in 2018. We started bringing other people in. I mean, you don't know who's going to have what to work on, but if you're there, they remember you, then, you can, maybe get a part in or role or something like that. Anyway. So anyway, that's it. And I used Elizabeth. I'm sorry. I feel like I'm in a debate. I'm not answering the questions. The camera, I went out. My husband, thank God, clapped to my husband. He bought the lights. He said, "Okay, we're gonna get you an iPhone 11 Max, Pro Max." And that's what I'm using now. And that's what I used. And the sound and the quality of the picture was so much better. So I was happy that everything could work out. I don't know how it did, but it just did.
Wait, did David get screen credit for anything? It sounded like he was part of your crew.
No, he just was very supportive. And then when you're an actor and you have a relationship, well, let's hope that your partner is supportive. I know Corinne and Mim, you probably know what I'm talking about, as well as Tara. I mean, I met some of your partners, and I'm telling you, it's really a big thing to have support, because we're just following our passion,
Yeah. It's so true. I don't know how people in other communities that don't have something like the CFAA to kind of connect everybody, because I think from the very beginning, that's how we've, other than Mim being brought in by Corinne and Mark, as part of the group, but, having this organization that really gives people a chance to try things for the first time, to make, connections with others who bring different skill sets to the table. It's really an amazing thing to see it all come together. So what we have, I think, here in Sacramento, that is represented again by what you guys have done in spades, is a community. We have an incredible community that cross supports and really loves to do things to, put all of their skills together and put it out there. So this was a huge example of you guys doing that. I don't know where we lost Mark.
I do want to go back to, because I want to give Corinne. Corinne, she will talk about more of the technical issues, because that woman there dealt with more technical issues as far as sound, and we had clicking of cups, we had quality of the a lot of stuff that I would like. Corinne, you should really do some talking, because that editing was fabulous. So
yeah, tell me about this editing skill that I didn't know that you even had.
And your camera, what kind of camera, so we can get Elizabeth
Yeah.
in there.
And I just wanted to say really fast, Corinne, I want to definitely give you a chance. I just want to say to Elizabeth and others listening that, we chose to do it on Zoom instead of using better cameras because we created this community in Zoom and we wanted to see what it could do and what we could do in that platform. So that's kind of why we did that. And it's not high res or super fancy or anything like that. Okay, Corinne.
Oh, yeah.
Or should I say Corinne
Well,
over here?
Well, to start, I don't consider myself an editor by any stretch. I see it as just a skill set, especially in our, day and age, that anyone who works in film, especially if you're an actor, you need to know how to edit. You need to know how to edit your own films. You need to know how to edit your own um, self-tape auditions, things of that nature. I'm technically inclined. My sister's technically inclined. Our father is a recording engineer. So by default, we've been exposed to the minutia of tech stuff from the get-go. As far as how all of this comes into play with our film, um, it seemed pretty crude using Zoom as a platform. And so you can get very nitpicky about, well, why aren't you using this camera? Or why aren't you using a Red? Or why aren't you using your DSLR? So you're dealing with a higher resolution, and then you can edit it in such a way to make it look like a Zoom call.
We talked about that.
So, and that's one of the things we talked about is the authenticity of the art and just using what you have and even working within the limitations of that. And what's nice about when you consider sound, Zoom, just as a platform, naturally cancels out background noise. So it's automatically going to hone into your speaking voice. So that's a given. So that actually helped when I was using that and looking at the sound aspects. Little details of noises and squeaks and bangs. I mean, that's pretty easy to edit out. And then what do you do with just, you're changing screens? Breaking the fourth wall, I think, was a wonderful concept because you're going from having dialogue with one another to the actors looking directly into the camera to break the fourth wall. The camera that I use is just the camera on my laptop, nothing special. The microphone that I use is the built-in microphone, in with my computer. With all of us, we used our built-in devices within our computer and cell phones. But working with just this basic footage, what do you do with that? So I came up with this idea of these bookends to the film, of starting it out with just a blank screen. And you're listening to the sound of all of these overlapping voices. Now, I came up with this idea of a news montage of all of these voices overlapping one another. And I described this idea to my sister, Marianne, because she also works in sound editing. And I said, can you come up with 20 seconds of overlapping voices? And so she did that. And so she extracted from all these different news sources to create this montage. So it starts out in the beginning and it gains momentum. And then you're looking at a timestamp for that day. And it ends with Fauci's voice saying, it could get very bad. And then you have your timestamp. So that's the beginning. And then the end, of course, is when Donna Lisa is crying. And all you hear is this voice, this person, this woman crying in the darkness. You just hear the sound of the cry. You don't see it, you just hear it, which has more of an impact, I think, in a sense, when that's all that you're left with. And then in keeping with all of the voices of other people around the world dealing with this kind of loss. So I came up with this idea of the two bookends and then finished it. And all the while I was sending these files to Tara to look at, to kind of pinpoint like my second pair of eyes. And then adding the music at the end, when we were basically done with the editing process. Marianne composes as she's looking at the film. So it was I don't want to say it was a drag and drop. It wasn't that simple. We had to sync it up a little bit. And so she and I had our own separate Zoom call in which we were able to do that. And, you know, I dealt with some volume and things of that nature just to kind of balance things out. But yeah, it really is just the authenticity of just using a basic Zoom call and working with what you have as an art form. Who would think, you know, let's use Zoom as an art form. So
There has
so
been a horror movie
that's what
now.
we did. We could have made it complicated, but we chose not to. And we really, I think all of us at the time, our energy and our emotions were somewhat tapped. So you allow what energy you do have to really focus on the creative part of your expression. And, you know, I consider myself an actor first and foremost. And then everything else just kind of fell into place after that. So, yeah, in a nutshell. But yeah, I know of other people who are creating Zoom films now.
Yeah.
I know one acting studio in LA, it's a requirement that some of the students have to create their scene, do all of their scene work using Zoom and to actually create movies with it. But yeah, so that's how I went about that.
In the earlier stages, Corinne, remember when we tried to, Tara said, we'll do a virtual background?
I know.
Oh yeah,
That didn't work so well.
That didn't work too well
Yeah.
on what we were trying to
And
accomplish.
it was like
so,
broadcasting on your face.
Yeah,
yeah.
Oh,
just a static background. Yeah.
they never look that great. We have a question. I think it's Jack. I think it's Jack asking this. Oh, no, that was another comment here. Were there issues for the audience? Did you just use your computer mics, or did you have any other mics that you added to the layers?
Just use the built-in microphones in our devices. So
We did go up and down a bit in post. So
yeah, I mean, there's this actual one segment where there is some ADR involved, one tiny little line, which I
she
had to
sounded like
record
an alien.
Yeah,
Oh,
on my cell phone, and then like incorporate that into it because we had tech issues with losing signal, losing sound when you're on the call, and it was frustrating after a while. But we managed that by just using what we had and kept it streamlined and simple in that way.
and I learned from trial and error too. You know, when I get closer, then it's clear, and then when I turn my head, it's not so clear. So I had to figure that out. You know.
Here's a good question too. And again, I'm not sure if it's one of our CFAA board members that is coming up as CFAA. So who was the final voice when there were disagreements?
We didn't have any disagreements.
Maybe some on music in the beginning before Mem was
yeah.
involved.
Yeah, there was a
But-
kind of a music thing, but
No, it's just because, you know, before it was filmed, Mark had an idea. He's not here to defend himself of what he like. He had some ideas for the music, but, you know, once he heard the composition, he was really touched by it. So like, so I kind of had
I got
another.
the music on anything is what just, it's like that final finish that completely sets the mood and the tone. So yeah, I agree. And you know, audio is normally the three issues that can really affect a film's outcome. It's the story itself, obviously, but the editing and the audio. If you can at least capture, you know, good marks on those three things, when you add in those complex layers like unique music that is built for the platform and for the story that you're telling, that just makes it so much more, it just raises it up a whole nother level in regards of the value of the film, I think, and what you can do with that. So you guys managed to hit all of those things. I think, there's always, in hindsight, can you go back to the film now that it's done? Because, we end up editing and editing and editing, and we finally get to a point where we're like, I can't do it anymore. I have to call, time. But every time I've done that, there's always things that I wish that I could fix. Is there anything about it, or is there a line? Is there something that you wish you could go back and adjust?
I wish I didn't have that there's this one line which I had to record separately on my cell phone and then use that small file and then add it into the film. And then tried to adapt it to make it sound seamless. And if it doesn't stand out, then I can leave it alone.
It did.
Yeah.
But I
It
wish
did
we
look
could have,
good. Sounds good.
gone back and maybe done that over. But that's all that I can think of on my end.
I wish I had thought of we were so in the initial stages, just like Mem talks about with
Yeah.
having COVID so early. Like, we didn't know what to expect in the future. And we recorded this and wrote it pretty early on to actually, we took a long time in prepping. And I had a line in there about, just in the last 6 weeks, there were 600 deaths in the hospital, and that's the last 6 weeks. So I think I would have left out that time frame to make it more universal.
Yeah.
And maybe the number of deaths. So.
Something to think about too, if you guys are submitting to foreign festivals, because this is such a universally translated message. Having some subtitles in different languages would probably an interesting development too.
We talked about that.
Yeah.
And it's actually, we're thinking of Spanish and Italian and French. And there is
Sorry.
I was just going to say that there is a resource available in which you can submit your film and then they can handle all of the subtitles for you. There's a nominal amount that you pay in order for that service, but it's very doable. Yeah.
And a lot of the festivals just require it either in English or subtitles in English. So there's very few who actually require it, but it would be nice to have it available for other viewers. So.
Yeah.
I think one thing that I as a filmmaker, and even as someone who writes for other media, is that making things accessible to all audiences is incredibly important.
Yeah.
So having the captions on this film was something that I know was worked on diligently with intent. That goes beyond just satisfying an audience that is possibly just watching the video where they can't hear the audio, but someone who literally is deaf now has access to this film and the story. And it's, again, language is a huge thing. I do have to give a shout out to our father, Pierre Peguin, who's not only an audio engineer, but he's also a languages teacher and was for 28 years, foreign languages. French, Portuguese, Spanish, and Latin were his languages. So he grew up in a home steeped with language. It makes complete sense to me anytime that there is a film, especially when this size, it's not long, to get it translated makes sense for accessibility, not just for a disability, but also for cultural. So.
Yeah, that's something we talked about early on. So it's a good reminder of needing to get on with that.
Yeah, there's some serious going on in your family there. You have one more sister, you're saying, who's
two
more,
two.
And a brother. Yeah, there's 5 of us.
Oh, yeah. You're gonna have a family project coming up here real soon. We have, let's see, this is Jack. I knew I can identify his questions. So he's asking, oh no, I'm sorry, Chris Laird. How many rehearsals did you do before the final take, or did you record your rehearsals just in case they were great takes? How did you manage that?
Yeah, I had record on all the time, pretty much. But Corinne and we just talked about it. I don't think we actually rehearse, did we?
No, we talked about it. We wanted to, I think one of the things we were looking for, and maybe Donna Lisa too, like we wanted to keep it as much in the moment as we could.
Mhm.
You know, we knew our lines, we memorized them, we had that, you know, that all of that information, but we
Yeah,
were just at a point where we just wanted to see what we came up with and just roll as we were improvising or what have you. But
yeah, we never met. I mean, we didn't, like Zoom ahead of time to rehearse the lines or anything like that. You just memorize, what you have, get, your, whatever you need for the role, and then we just met on the day, and then we shot it. You know. And the thing is that, when it's just the two of you, we had a lot of support within each other, to give suggestions or to work different things that maybe we didn't like it. Let's try this over, and I'm going to try something else. So one of the nice things of doing your own film like this is you can do that.
yeah.
You have some time. So
That's
get
true.
what you like.
We have
Make sure
all
you
the
like it.
time in the world these days.
And do you remember how I was hidden and I was like, okay, now I'm disconnecting you and like
Yeah.
you have to come on. And then
That was in the early one, yes.
yeah, I was like, this is too complicated.
So you can talk about that, Tara. Was actually one of the problems with the Zoom
Yes.
is that and Tara can talk more on that, but our first time we had all three of us in the same room, and that was the technical difficulty, is that getting on and off. What
Yeah.
was it that you kept on seeing, Tara?
Yeah, and so I think I had envisioned like texting you to come on the call, but then we needed you to be on, and so we thought we came up with the idea, we'll just have it like she's waiting for a call. And the same with the doctor, like the doctor just has it playing all the time, and so that kind of set up and then initially when it was just the two of them, I was hidden, my video was off, and I would have her come on and then hide her, and it was really awkward, and it took too long, and you could hear clicking.
Yeah.
So finally, and it was degrading the line and the video quality. So I just got off, and then you could see Corinne actually in it. It was realistic. It was a one-shot thing, and she was the one disconnecting the call and then speaking to the camera, and it worked. That was much more organic, I think. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then on the day that Corinne and I shot, it was just her and I. So that was one of the technical difficulties on the first day, was trying to do all that, okay, when I call you, turn your camera on, and that was fun.
Yeah.
and it took us a long time too. Didn't it take us like 7 days? We had 7 days, and it was longer than I expected
Yeah,
because of the issues.
it
It was
did,
so
yeah.
fun.
It,
You
it
didn't have,
was.
did you have any expenses at all?
Well, yeah, because I went through SAG, so it required insurance, and so that was it with insurance essentially. And what SAG was really requiring and still requiring, and which is good, you have to fill out a questionnaire about the COVID compliance. And Mark had shipped scrubs from a veterinarian clinic to Corinne, and so I had to like explain like how the things were sanitized and shipping, and she had to explain like how she sanitized it when she got it back to her home. And so, but otherwise, it's like we're not face to face. We have we don't need to wear masks.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was just insurance. It's legally required. And insurance. And I'd worked with this company before, and they were very quick in turning it around. So. And I know Donnelly said you'd gotten these amazing lights.
Oh,
too, so.
the lights. Well, it helped because, one of the things we were all had to do our own background and backlighting and, set your own set, so.
That's me. We all need our life.
Yeah. So, that helped out a lot. I moved some stuff around and, where we first were thinking on filming, of course, once I got the lighting, then that changed everything. Which I'm pretty happy for, I ended up filming in a different room and it was pretty comfortable. Though the space that I had to step over into the shot was very like I had a light there, I had a tripod here, I had everything that on a set, watch your step. So I had to step over this thing, and I remember we were shooting one, and I just totally like almost biffed it. I'm like, oh no. I said, I guess we need to do that one again.
If
So
anybody is just now jumping on and don't know what we're talking about, the film Two Kisses, which was screened at the beginning of this conversation, in the comments link, I've listed the name of the film and the link so that you can watch it or you can share it at any time. So if you're looking for the film and you haven't seen it yourself, go to the comments field and you can find it there. And then also the full interview and the comments, because I know you guys can't see a lot of the comments, and there's some very, very nice statements and compliments that people are leaving. I'll send you a link to give you access to all of this. And so you can not only get a chance to see what you look like on screen.
well, thank you, Lori. I want to just thank you really, because it means a lot that we are able to get together. This is the first time we've actually all been together. So
Yeah, it is.
thank God for Zoom. I know. We've been
That's
in and
so
out,
funny.
and I actually get to see Mim. I was like looking
Yeah.
forward to that, and Mark and he's
Mim,
not here anymore,
I gotta
but
ask you,
it was good
what is
to
your
see
name?
everyone. And thank you for putting this together. So
You're more than welcome. And I love to be able to talk to filmmakers about what they're doing, but this had a particular energy and heart behind it that, I wasn't sure how it was going to turn out, but I knew that the process of making it was going to be really something interesting to talk about. So I have one question though. Mim, is your name short for anything?
Yeah, my name is short for Marianne.
Mim is
It's
short. Okay.
Yeah, it's a French Canadian. It's the diminutive of Marianne, and it's considered a French Canadian nickname. So it's Mim, and unfortunately, it's a good thing that I have this nickname because the region that I grew up in, there's a Paquin, or the name Paquin, Paquin, is like Smith in Canada. There's so many Paquins like Anna Paquin is just,
Oh, wow. Huh.
what ultimately happened. And of course I'm into genealogy. That is a totally different subject, and those are reads. Those are like major reads. So there are a lot of women with the name Marianne Paquin. So I actually didn't want to change my name, but I just found that there's so many derivative spellings of it. I was like, you know what? My siblings gave me this nickname. My mom and dad gave me this nickname. My best friends use this nickname. And it's really who I am at heart, is this like I'm a mimic, so that helps. And that's part of the definition of the name. But Mim actually that's the nickname for Marianne.
Very interesting. I've never known a Mim, so
That's all. Well, of course it's me.
because there's only one.
now I know a Mim.
The Mim.
The Mim.
Well, I can't thank you enough for sharing your time and sharing your story. This is really what we want to do every time we get together, is just humanize it and connect everybody so that we can really understand, what inspires you and what, thrills you. We're all experiencing a lot of really strange things in this weird world that we're in right now. I can't wait until we can actually be in physical contact with each other. I definitely want to come to your house on Thanksgiving, the Paquin Midor.
No, you don't.
No politics. No politics. No.
Ah!
Oh man.
Pick another holiday. Pick another holiday. Any other holiday. Not Thanksgiving.
We just had
That's hilarious.
a family gathering, and I had to say, we are not talking politics. I am not allowing any conversation having to deal with politics. And everybody was like, yes, I understand.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man.
Well, thank you again. It was a blast to just see you guys again, sort of in person.
Yeah. Thanks, Lori.
I know everybody will,
Virtual person.
and we'll continue to share this. So anybody that hasn't seen it, we'll see. Let me see if I have any final questions. Yada da da da. Oh, another comment. Love to be at the Paquin Thanksgiving table. So much talent.
I'll bring the yams.
Okay. Gonna have to make this happen. Then you're gonna have to fly out here.
Oh, my in-laws, my husband, his whole family's out there. They're Sacramento. My mother-in-law, father-in-law, if they're watching, they're in Rio Vista. And then all of my husband has his dad is one of 11 kids. So all of his aunts live near where you guys are. So my family is where you guys are. My brother-in-law and sister-in-law live in Chico. So
Oh my God.
yay, I know.
That's so funny.
Close the gap.
You have to just move up here with everybody else.
Yeah.
That's a big family. I'm going to take back my yam offer.
So are you guys working on a new project now, or are you just breathing a sigh of relief that this one is done?
I'm working on a TV pilot that I'll be pitching in October.
Okay,
So that's exciting.
cool.
I'm working on another film project with Nicole Berry and Janine Romney.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Fine, love her.
Yep.
What?
Excited for that.
And DL, you're working on a top secret project so far?
Well, you know how those sets are in San Francisco. Can't
You said you're going to be there.
anything,
You have a
but
6-day
it's a good chunk of work. So, you know, I'm just excited to be part of it. So maybe I'll let you know later.
You said you're on set for 6 days, though, right?
5 days.
5 days?
Yeah.
We could say 6.
Good.
6. Yeah. Well, the
Congratulations.
one thing with sets these days is that you have to get a COVID test. So,
Right.
And then everything's is by the book. So
Yeah.
we'll see. This is the first one I'm going to be on. So besides ours, which was no one was around me. So I was really good with this one.
You had no COVID restrictions, even though it was.
I know. So yeah. And just, whatever comes my way, I'm just always ready. So.
Cool. Well, love you, chicks. So glad that you were here. This was
Thank you, Lori.
fun to share the film and talk about it, and connect with us and see if there's anything else we're doing in coming weeks that catches your interest. So we've got some incredible.
Thank you.
Now, anybody that watched this tonight with everybody, again, we've got coming up some incredible guests that. Starting with Mike Carroll, who's a KCRA TV cameraman and filmmaker. In addition, we've got women in production and some incredible children. Getting a lot of girl power. I kind of like that. I'm finding there's a lot of speakers that are bringing to the table. And so I'm all about it. So anyway, thank you so much. I'm going to end it now, and I'll send you the links so that you can see the comments and everything, and you can share that if you want to. But again, thank you so much. It was really
Thank you.
a pleasure.
Okay, bye.
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 Bye.